Or
Yes.
we've never actually seen one in person.
Yeah,
We're borrowing that from the
it's
Friends.
friends. Yeah. Yes, isn't it?
The recording has started, so anytime you're ready, Jean, to
All
get us
right,
going.
great. Well, thank you all. Welcome to the meeting of the City of South Pasadena Library Board of Trustees. This is our regular monthly meeting for the month of April 14th. It is 7:03. We're getting started. Let me read this notice of public participation of accessibility.
I don't know. We have in the past. Do we need to read that, Diana?
No, we don't. What I often do, when I lead meetings such as this, is I will say there's detailed instructions appearing on the agenda.
Yeah.
So you're encouraged to look at that if you wish to make public comment.
Okay, so this is a public meeting, and everyone is entitled to make public comment. And I actually wholeheartedly invite it and look forward to actually having someone from the public come one of these days. There is, as our esteemed council member has noted, information on the agenda that's available online at any time that people want to find it. The meeting can also be attended via Zoom. I believe that is, do we have a current deadline for when that's been extended to?
I don't think I know. Well, if we do, I don't know. It's definitely
I
hybrid.
think it's through June at least. So, I don't know if we-
The under AB 361, the city council has to continue to approve resolutions to extend it, but I understand that we can only do so for so long as an emergency, well, as an order is in effect, and I understand that the governor's emergency order expires June 30th.
June 30th, okay.
Or maybe extended, who knows?
So we'll call us to order. We call the order at 7:03. We'll take roll call. Sean, don't you usually do that?
I will. Dean Sermon,
Present.
Kenneth Gross, FJ Pratt.
Here.
Bianca Richards,
Wasn't.
Annie Chang Long.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we have our council liaison, council member Diana Mahmood. Are you here?
Yes, I am.
That's awesome. I'm not hallucinating. Okay. We have Kathy Billings, our library director, and Sean Taylor, administrative secretary, who I actually get to see in person. He's always been a disembodied voice.
And Sally. And I'm here.
And Sally, yes, our representative from the Friends. That is what you're here as, right? I can't read from this system.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. You know, we just have her present. Nothing happens in the city without Sally Kilby being involved. I mean, sincerely. So presentations, we have none.
Correct?
Okay. Public comments.
None.
We have no public comment. Again, I look forward to that. If anyone actually views these or listens to these recordings, I welcome it. Action discussion. We get to review and approve the draft minutes of the regular meeting held March 10th, 2022. I believe that everyone has had access to those and opportunity. Did anyone have any comments, questions, additions, or changes?
Well, I move that we approve the minutes of March 10, 2022.
You beat me to it. Second. Okay, so that is Bianca Richards first and FJ.
No.
Kenny.
FJ. Yeah. I'll get it. I'll get it one of these days. Seconding, all in favor? All right.
Should I do a roll call?
You want to do it, please?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Dean Sermon,
Correct, yes.
Kenneth Gross.
Yes.
FJ Pratt,
Yes.
Bianca Richards.
Yes.
Annie Chang Long. Thank you.
Can we do these by unanimous or do we?
No,
individually?
because Annie is participating remotely. We've got to do roll call.
Okay, fair enough. Number 4, this is the one we're excited and here for. We're going to have a review of the strategic planning proposal that was received Do you have multiple copies of those?
Well, we can, no, we may be confused. You guys want to share? Yeah, maybe Sally and.
They're in the packet, aren't they?
No,
No, they were not.
no, not these.
The
are
summaries are.
Oh,
Something
Yeah.
The
No,
storage.
you have it.
Oh,
They were in the PDF.
Yeah,
We just didn't want to waste too much paper, so we
I
didn't
did
print.
not see all of them.
They were part of the
they were-
packet. If you need us to print more, we can run and
No,
do
that's,
so, but
that's
there's a lot of
perfectly
paper.
fine. I
very
think we're
good.
good
We
with
can
that.
share. We can share.
Can we take a few moments just to reacquaint ourselves with them?
Sure, and hopefully you saw in the packet some of the kind of material that we prepared to make it a little easier to digest.
Yeah, how is the scoring done? I mean, I saw the scores, but what is the scale?
The scoring was based on the request for proposal kind of outlines what criteria would be scoring on. And I mean, the criteria are listed here, and it was a scale of 100, but a couple of three of the different items were weighted double. So it was a 1 to 10 score, but then if it was a double weighted, you would multiply it by 2.
Okay,
So your maximum possible score was 100.
I see.
But it was, I thought it was 0 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, yes. it
Yeah,
could be
0 to
10,
10.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what prompted this? I mean, do we do this every couple of years? the strategic
Every
plan?
5 years.
Okay.
5-year plan, just like Concord Parks and Rec. So it seems from looking at this as if one presentation was head and shoulders above the others.
Right.
And I asked that Bianca, Kathy, and Annie, who are all here, maybe give us a quick summation. I mean, it's twice as thick, so of course it should be twice as good. Right?
Bianca, do you want to go first?
How,
Just talk about your impressions.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe just,
just
focus on
brief-
what did you
briefly.
see that was
Yeah.
so far and above the others?
yeah, this first one, the Library Solutions, this is a very small company, I think just a one-person company. And I just didn't feel that this had the breadth and the depth of what we needed. There wasn't much talk about the city of South Pasadena, the surrounding environment, the development. So I was afraid that this one was just concentrated too much on kind of just a brochure.
Generic of what a library could be
Yes.
as opposed to what our library
Yes,
should be.
and then these two, in my scoring, these two came in pretty close. These were a little bit more, had a breadth of experience, more in-depth. These two consultant companies clearly did some research about South Pasadena and the surrounding areas. And I think this one, Barry Dunn, did a lot more in-depth research about what's going on in the environment of the library park. They both have a good plan to incorporate staff and outside people to help talk about, like they wanted to have like focus groups. This one depended too much on staff. So I thought that this person wanted staff to do too much. These people were very much community involvement, community engagement, and they had a lot of experience and yeah. Annie, did you want to add?
Sure. I largely agree with what Bianca shared. I will say that the Barry Dunn proposal was just far beyond for me in what they can do and their innovation and thinking about how to gather community input. They have super innovative technology that's mentioned here in the notes. You can see this idea of using a social pinpoint, which is like basically a internet like, what do they call those? The code, the QR codes, where folks can immediately provide feedback from all over the community. It was really, really just innovative. I've never seen it. I actually clicked on it too in their proposal, and they give you the example of one that's live right now in a different community, which was just really very innovative. And I really like that they specifically called out the diversity, equity, and inclusion practices that they consider front of mind when they're thinking about strategies for the library, which I think is super important for our community. So I just, yeah, really, that one just stood out way beyond out of those three.
Yeah, and I agree with Annie.
Can you turn the laptop so that we see Annie? Would it at all impair?
No, we can do that.
Yeah, I'd like that.
He
That would
just,
be helpful.
Thank you,
Instead of
Councilmember.
hearing a disembodied voice.
I thought that's what this was about. We could see the speakers.
yeah, but you can't see Annie. Now you can see
Now
Annie.
we can see her.
But,
They can
okay,
see us.
Sorry, everyone. I have a unvaccinated daughter, and it's just always a toss up of whether to go to things right now.
Close the right window.
Or pin her.
Close it.
You can make a-
If you can, her, that would be helpful.
what was supposed to be.
Yeah.
The thing is, if I close that, then you guys won't be in the recording for this, to go on the city
But can you
website.
can you pin her?
What do you mean pin her?
If you click
On
in the
Zoom.
upper right of the screen, there's a thing that
three
says
dots with a drop down menu.
Yeah, I know, but if she's speaking, she'll
There
be
you go.
big, but
There it is. Now it's full screen or almost.
pin. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're after. Hi, Annie. Good to see you, dear. So
That's better.
is there anything else that your impressions, aside from, because these are great summaries, was there anything else in your impressions that really elevates Barry Dunn over and above? It's one thing, like I said, it's thicker, it's got more information, they give us much more detail on their people and references.
Well, they did a lot, I thought Barry Dunn, they seem to do a genuine research of the city. So they seem to know a little bit more about the city. And
I think that comes from the RFP, the background that we provided them. So I don't know that but they all had access to this and could have referenced it.
yeah, but they Barry Dunn, I think, referenced it and referred back. And then what I liked about Barry Dunn also, I think this is the proposal. He talked, I think, like Annie said, diversity, and they did mention what will be the consequences of the growth of the city on the library. Oh,
That's good.
I thought that was,
They also
That's an
said they're gonna
important-
follow up 6 months later.
yes,
And they also are using that consultant that we were referred to.
Yeah,
What's
so-
her-
Yeah, so I would say my impression of the three, like you said, Library Solutions is a one-woman shop. And she relies pretty heavily per the proposal on training staff to do some of the outreach, which I don't think we have the capacity for. Library IQ, their strength is in analysis, numbers, and crunching the numbers. That's what they do. And I think that they maybe emphasize that too much. They do not have a local Southern California based person on the team, to my knowledge. Whereas Barry Dunn does have a really well-regarded, well-known library consultant who's located here in the Los Angeles area, who's on the team. So that is, to me, really important.
The only thing I thought about Barry Dunn was, to me, it seemed a little bit cut and paste. And I really liked actually Library IQ. And I thought they both talked about diversity and data, and being a sports fan, I'm a big believer in data and following the data, making your projections and developments based on the data that you have. I mean, Barry Dunn is certainly qualified and they're probably the best, but I thought Library IQ was a little bit more specific to us and did talk about diversity and the growth of the city. Anyway, just an impression that I got, but all close in price. And I think Barry Dunn was even the least expensive.
Lower.
Yeah. So,
you know, and I have to agree with Kenny, because Library IQ did talk about, they're the only ones who did mention that they were very aware of the challenges with the existing library. So then that led me to think that maybe they did a walkthrough or they came physically and saw it, because they did mention that there's some challenges.
Again, I think that's in the RFQ.
I just thought, I think Barry Dunn was a little bit, and I'm just being a contrarian, just so you know, he was a little bit of a sell job, because who's the Pasadena, it's a Kent, what's her name?
Yes.
Susan or
Susan
Susan
Yeah.
Kent, which they put in there, but they didn't have a picture of her, and she wasn't listed as their member, so clearly she's not part of it, but they put that in there to get our interest. I don't know if she can be on the project or not, or.
Yeah, she's on the project.
Okay.
She would probably do.
Yeah,
the-
they
the
listed
role.
her as a participant.
She would be doing probably a lot of the engagement
Mm-hmm.
pieces because she's local, but the team would come out from Colorado as well.
From Portland.
From Colorado. The people that would be working on this are based in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
I think that this is, and I know this, Barry Dunn is actually doing strategic planning right now with the Southern California Library Cooperative, which is the joint powers authority for the Southern California libraries, through which we get funding from the state. And so they've been working with them, and they use the same model where they're working with some local California-based, really, really well-known library consulting folks to do the strategic planning. So I think maybe that's a model that they use in communities, is they find someone who's local to the area who can provide that
That makes
knowledge and
sense.
aspect. And then they have all these, again, they have the technology and platforms that they use regardless of the, you know, that's applicable regardless of the location, but they look for local people who can partner with them, I think.
So the difference then between Barry Dunn and Library Solutions is it's still a one-person show on the ground, but Barry Dunn has a lot more backstop that one person can utilize. Did
Yeah.
you get a sense that that's what they're.
Library IQ?
Did you
Library
conduct
Solutions
any
is the one woman show.
interviews
Oh, right,
of
right.
them, or
okay.
is this all just based on a documentary review?
This is based on the documentary review. There's a list of reference questions here that if you want me to pursue those with them, we can do that, you know, pending, you can make your recommendation pending satisfactory.
I really think it
Completion.
would be an idea to at least have a Zoom interview. And if there's some sense that maybe you want to have it with the two, whatever this committee decides, but I'm really uncomfortable with proceeding with the recommendation to, I guess it would be the city council, because it's within the city manager, excuse me, to the city manager, it's
Yeah.
within her discretionary authority. I just believe strongly you ought to interview.
Yeah, you should have that.
So it's paid for by,
credibility.
it doesn't come out of library funds, it's paid for by the city?
It's in the library's budget.
Okay,
Right, it's just that if it's 25,000 or over, the contract has to be approved by city
I
council.
see. Mhm.
And under that, city manager has the discretion. So this won't be coming to city council. But I would just strongly recommend having a Zoom interview, and also you may have some questions.
Yeah, I
I
have a
would-
list of questions for proposal clarification,
Yeah.
which if you have any to add to that list, that would be
I
helpful.
think that these are sufficient. I would like to echo Councilmember Mahmood. I think that you can gain a lot from a face-to-face or a Zoom to Zoom. Because you can get a sense of the acumen of them as opposed to sitting down and writing. As Sally knows, she and I work very well together. She is great at casting the frame, and then I tighten things up, and then she tightens my tighten up. So they have a proposal, and then somebody inputs the data into it, and somebody else looks at it and tweaks it. That's great, but actually talking to the people that would be working on it would give a better sense of how they might move forward. So I would maybe propose that we drop out Library Solutions and have you discuss with these two that were head and shoulders above them, and ask these questions, and then report back to us a general sense of them.
Yes, that's what we can do. I guess I would ask, do you have additional questions that you want asked of the firms?
And might you invite Bianca and Annie
Yeah.
to also participate? I think
Yeah,
that would
like
be a
that.
good idea. Just my concern is we're going to be working very closely with the consultant. We want to make sure the chemistry is there. Because we have to rely on their judgment, and I'm just very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I have no problem with doing that. I intended to do it. I just need to know what kind of questions you might additionally want me to ask. I mean, I have some thoughts about things I would like clarified,
Yeah.
but,
What about expenses? I mean, if they're-
they're all, if you look at the, summary sheet that shows the costs,
Yeah,
et cetera,
those are built in.
they include, everybody includes travel. Library IQ does not include a final presentation of the plan on site. They would add $1,000 to do that. Very done, that's included, but all of the expenses are included.
Would you be talking to this Jason Janet?
Probably Jason and, probably Susan
And Susan?
and Jason and perhaps,
Jane?
the guy with the initials, what's his name?
JR.
JR, yes, thank you.
So I like the question that you have here. Is there anything you wish you'd done differently? I'm wondering if you could ask them, have they gotten some version of it, have they gotten generally good, neutral, or bad feedback from their clients?
Mhm.
Do we have references that we can reach out to of people they worked with 1 to 2 years ago? That we could maybe get a sense of.
They all provided references and.
Yeah.
There
Well,
are
and
pictures.
this is a question of the reference.
Oh, I see. Reference.
Yeah, there's a
I thought
list
there were
of
reference
reference
questions,
questions and
you were
then a
asking
second
about.
section that's,
Yeah, so have
questions
you
for-
already reached out to those references?
no, I was waiting to get some.
I think that would be great to get from both of them. Is there any, I mean, there must be, because you can Google anything at this point. Are there any consultant review sites that can give us a backdrop of a general feeling about these companies?
Not to my knowledge, Barry Dunn, again, I mean, it's such a small, the library consulting world is pretty
Very
small.
small.
So it's more, you talk to people and, oh, what do you think of this person?
Yeah,
What
so
do
I
you think
think
of that
that's
person?
following up, I mean, that final question really sums it up. Is there anything you wish you'd done differently? Yes, not hire them. If somebody says that, then I think that's a dispositive issue, but these look fantastic. I want to thank you again for I know that you had a little challenge initially at getting some folks to step up to the table. Was one of these three the one that came right away?
The one that came right away was Library IQ,
Okay.
and then the other two came after.
We did it last time.
Somebody named Jim Matthews, Joe Matthews, sorry, Joe Matthews.
Yeah.
Were we happy with that?
That was before my time. The staff had some reservations about that strategic planning process and the outcome. But I was not here, so I can't speak to that experience of that plan.
Do we have, old?
Can
Do
I-
we have?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The old strategic plan?
When,
And he's got a
Thank you.
question.
Go ahead, Annie.
or Bianca, go ahead. And then I was gonna offer some questions to Kathy's question about what kind of questions to ask them.
No, no, go ahead, Annie.
Oh, okay. So some questions I would ask Kathy are, what are challenges you faced with recent clients and how did you address those challenges? What would your recent clients say that went well with you? I would ask about how many hours they anticipate library staff and library committee, I guess it's the strategic plan committee, you expect them to spend on this versus how much time they're spending. Because I do see what you're pointing out, Kathy, that Library IQ is saying that they're expecting staff to do like coordination of meetings and all of these things. Like, to me, in a consultant, that's what they should be providing. So I find it interesting that they're, I'm curious what they're offering to that process if you're going to be doing all of that. And a similar question, I think, to Barry Dunn, because they don't outline, what the expectations are of staff, but like an hour's estimate, usually consultants can give that. But those are 3 things I'd want to know in an interview.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good questions.
The only other question I would add is, it's maybe a nuance to your first question of where you're happy with the final product. Would be, did you have any challenge implementing the report results and suggestions? Because it's great to go, this is fantastic on paper, but then if it doesn't work for a small library to actually do, I think that would be important to know.
That's a great idea. Asking about the implementation.
Yeah.
piece, yeah.
It might be for the references, it might be an idea to request the final plan, final product.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, it's probably online, but we can ask them.
right, yeah, if it is available online.
Otherwise, I think that, again, you've done an excellent job of securing these. You've done a great job of summarizing them and doing an initial scoring. I think that at this point, we knock, I don't know, is it something I should make a motion about to knock out one and follow up with the two, or is that something
Or do
that?
we just table it for the next?
Well, we don't have time to table it. I mean, we need to go forth with the, I think the motion is to proceed with interviews and reference
Yeah.
questions for the two.
Well, that's what I want, that's what I meant,
Yeah.
to do the two and not all three. I don't want
Right,
you
and
to
then
waste- I don't
pending,
want you to spin
pending
your
that
wheels.
library staff.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that you proceed forward with the next steps as listed for item 4 on the final page, with the reference questions and the proposal clarification questions for consultants as augmented by the board here with Barry Dunn and Library IQ.
And interview.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what I meant. Going
Reference,
forward with the reference interviews and the
Yeah.
follow-ups with the proposal.
And then the staff and Bianca and Annie
Yeah,
will make the final decision.
yes.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Ready to take a vote?
Yes, Dean Servo,
Aye.
Kenneth Brooks.
Yes.
Patrick Pratt.
Yes.
Bianca Richards.
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so just to be clear, what I've heard is that the board is delegating to the subcommittee the authority to make the final selection.
Yes, I think that either of these two are, but pending,
Okay, I just want to make sure everyone understood.
yes. We don't have time to bring it back for May, right?
Correct.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah. What?
Thank you, and thank you to Annie and Bianca for reading all the proposals so thoroughly and making such good comments and being such diligent scorers. It's very helpful. Yeah, and then Nate and Barb also read them and scored them, so.
That's why I feel comfortable to your point.
Okay.
Council member, based on what I've seen, I think they've done an excellent job. And we'll make their choice. Okay. I was trying to be fancy like Sean. Who's excused my informal garb tonight, by the way. So that's item 4, right? It's gonna take us hours.
Yeah.
I
I
did
do
too,
have
but
one question.
Yeah.
The Zoom calls, is the board part of that, or is that just?
Just the Bianca, Annie,
Okay.
and Kathy, and the 2 staff members that did the initial scoring will
Got
be a part of those Zoom calls to get an overall sense. That way, it's not just one person's impression. That's my
Right.
takeaway.
You're gonna have your
That's-
other your 2 staff people on those Zooms too?
maybe, maybe not, probably
Yeah,
not.
I mean, they don't.
But at least the 3,
3, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
is that,
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. And then going forward, isn't the process when the successful candidate company is chosen, then they then work with all of us on, they'll meet in all of us.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the table that kind of
Yeah.
breaks down, one of the main things that I was looking at was the in-person engagement
Yeah.
piece. And I think that Barry Dunn and a Library IQ both had strong meeting engagement plans, so kickoff meeting, virtual session with the trustees, or, you know,
Yeah.
good breakdown of who they're gonna meet with and how and when. So yes, and like I think Bianca said, I think both of these, or actually all of them, we have to create a team of people that are kind of the core team that goes through this process in consultation with the consultant. So probably we'll have to talk about that and who's on that team, but we probably would want a board member on that team.
So that would be something to
Or two.
also discuss with them, is making sure that we have a clear understanding of what that engagement will be with the board, with you, et cetera.
No, I think it would be an idea to get an understanding of the skill sets they think are needed on the committee.
Is there any value in reviewing the old strategic plan so that we don't repeat something that we shouldn't be repeating?
I think there is. I
Yeah,
can look at that. Yeah, I'd like to see it if it's around.
It's on the website. I can
Oh, okay.
send the link.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe we all should just review it. Yeah,
did they review it?
Some of them made mention of it and did. I can't remember off the top of my head who did and who didn't. But
Just
I'm
for,
pretty sure-
to Bianca's point, if something's already been seen as not a path to walk down, we don't want to waste spinning wheels
Mhm.
to walk down it again.
no, Kathy's right. Somebody did mention the previous plan. I think it was Library IQ. Library IQ mentioned the previous plan. Yeah.
I'm very curious to hear your thoughts back about the interviews that you have with them.
Yeah, and we can share that over email.
That'd
We
be-
just
that'd be
can't
good.
correspond about it, but I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We can send out a summary of what we learned.
That'd be very helpful. Great. If there's, do we have any further discussion? Otherwise, I'd like to move forward. Okay, the parcel tax renewal, the library director is going to update the board on adjustments, parcel tax renewal timeline and deliverables.
Yeah, so we originally said that we'd be talking about the parcel tax and looking at the terms of renewal and asking you guys to make a recommendation of the terms of renewal, which would then be prepared in a staff report for the city council. We're gonna do that in May, not this month. The city attorney is looking at some questions that the city manager and the finance director had. So the city attorney wants some time to get back to us, and then we'll be able to prepare a proper staff report for you guys for May. So basically,
I do have a question, or I guess being the one with the most seniority or longevity here. The last time 5 years ago that our residents approved one, the prior parcel tax did not include an inflation adjustment. And the then committee was very concerned that the residents might not approve 100% of that capture. So we essentially left some money on the table. And one of the things that I think should be discussed and considered is, given the very strong support that our residents displayed for the parcel tax renewal last time, maybe we want to capture some of that money that was left on the table.
My understanding is that a COLA was being investigated for that.
A COLA is now in part and parcel. My question is, do you want to raise the principal to capture what was left on the table? Because there was a delta between the actual had the prior parcel committee fully captured the inflation adjustment. They did.
I mean, going backwards to the time when.
What I'm suggesting is that last time, I think they captured, I don't know, maybe something like 75 or 80% of the total inflation, but the value is not the same even now as it was when originally enacted through the years, because the last committee was hesitant to fully capture the full amount of the inflation.
My concern there would be that in this, shall we say, generally divisive political environment, asking for anything that gets nuanced may be challenging. Trying to explain why we're asking for an increase to capture something that was not captured 5 years ago could be more divisive.
Confusing, that's all. And aren't we going to ask also for it to continue?
Yeah, in
until-
perpetuity,
That's
yes.
another whole ask.
To me, that's the big
I
ask.
think that way we don't have, the city doesn't need to go through this rigmarole every 5 or 7 years.
Yeah,
And I could be wrong, been through this several times. Isn't there an incremental cost to adding this measure to even the existing ballot?
every item on the
So,
ballot.
Yeah.
Charge.
So every time, if we
Uh-huh.
don't have to do this again, it does save us, save the city money, save the library money.
And this is a good opportunity for me to remind that there may be
They
a
changed the
state
state law.
initiative which
Right.
would prohibit the evergreen taxes.
But that's not trending real well.
No,
I don't know, last I heard, the group that was sponsoring it, which was Business Roundtable, the statewide organization, had raised $4 million, so it's just something to be aware of. Okay. I
Yeah,
just
and I
wanted
mentioned that
to,
to the city
that-
attorney.
Is that one of the questions that the city attorney is looking at, is
Well, this-
if we put that language in, but the ballot initiative passes, what would happen?
He can't really make any advise on that until he actually sees what that measure looks like, is what he told me. You know, until he knows exactly what it says, he won't know whether we would be.
it's circulating for signature, they can't change it, it's cast in stone. at
Then let me
this
talk to
point.
Andrew again, because I did talk to him about it.
Yeah, they can't change it, once it's approved by the Attorney General for circulation, that's it.
Yeah, otherwise
Can't
it's
change
fraud.
it.
Okay.
So the language
it's out
is there.
I've had trouble tracking it down. I looked at the website of
Yeah.
the of the group that you said
Uh-huh.
sponsored it, and I couldn't find it there, so I'll have to keep looking.
When I get home, I'll look at the Secretary of State, because the
it should
Secretary
be
of
there.
State, yes.
But if an initiative passes, doesn't it become codified as a statute? Doesn't the statute have to be written? I mean, wouldn't there be new language in the statute that just follows the initiative?
The initiative contains the language.
The exact language of the
Statutory
statute, yeah.
statutory language, yeah.
Okay,
so back to your
There's a
suggestion.
summary is what people look at.
Right, just
You
like
you
so,
can
yeah,
actually
yeah.
see the
Yeah.
language.
So
Nobody looks, that's the problem.
What are we going forward with investigating this, Diana? Do you think
I
we should
just
with the
wanted-
issue you brought up?
I just, because I'm the one with the grade, I
Yeah.
may be the only one that knows this, that last time we didn't fully capture the inflation. If you think it would be too confusing or too contentious, that's fine. I just
How about
wanted
we
to
do
raise
this?
it.
Is
as
there a
an issue.
way to investigate what that delta was and what it would mean if we were to try to capture it, so that we can look at that as an investigative question rather than just thinking about it, so that we can actually, when we do have the discussion in May.
yeah, and I don't completely understand the issue, and would there be a financial impact on voters or
Yes.
residents?
It would be an increase.
If we recapture, I mean, that's what it sounds like it would be, yeah, so it's gonna be.
As
believe-
opposed to
what
just
you're
a
suggesting
continuation.
is
Yeah.
we'd start with an elevation and then
Correct.
COLA.
Correct.
Right, as opposed to same as it is right now, or will be in
Yeah.
August. Every August, they make the adjustment based on the COLA, but we would kick it up $5 or something like that.
It's gonna be hard to do a fact sheet.
Yeah,
I think it's a tough sell.
Right now we have
It's a-
$37.
it's a really tough sell to say, to try and say,
No, it's not that much money.
yeah, I don't think risking the confusion, because there's going to be so much confusion out
There
there.
is, with the districts and the city and the.
You know who had a lot of information was Brendan.
Brendan,
You know, I would,
that's the person I would.
Maybe
you know,
we
at
could
the
ask
last the last meeting that we have, Brendan Durant, he was on the board.
Yeah.
And then he's got a lot of historical knowledge.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
It's also a library.
So do you, are you directing me to work with finance to do that math, to see what we left on the table last time or not?
I would ask Brendan, that would be a lot simpler.
Yeah,
Oh,
Just ask Brendan, because he was chair of the committee
Right.
yeah, you would probably
last go
know.
around.
Um,
And he saved all the paperwork too, if that helps. I mean, he's got, and he offered it to us, the new committee, he offered it to us.
okay. Let's see what he knows.
Yeah. I just know that in the past, there's been a reticence to raise anything
Yeah.
because of the concern of backlash. We've been blessed the last couple of times with no organized no. And my fear is that if we say we're gonna increase it and extend it forever,
Yeah.
that's gonna bring up the no birds.
But once it passes, that's it. We can never,
We can't do it.
we
again.
can't, it's done.
It would just be on this, it would, the base would be the base that they set in
And then that would-
2015.
Well, we could bring-
Well,
well, you could bring
yes
another-
and no,
we could bring another measure.
yes and no, exactly.
Yeah, the same as,
So
as
it's-
people could bring a measure to delete it.
Right.
You could bring a measure to say, we're gonna bump it up $10 and include the COLA. I believe that we're on a good track with the finances as it is, though, correct?
I mean, I did some projection just to see what those numbers look like, both for the required amount, which is what the city needs to produce, and also what the tax rates would be, you know, it's a significant amount of money if you're looking at a CPI of 7%, you know, this year. And then again, you know, again, it depends on the inflation rate, but yeah, I mean, the numbers go up. If you look out 20 years, 30 years, it's a big, it grows significantly.
Um,
Can the consultants help us on it?
Well, we have a consultant who can help us
Oh.
with it.
Yeah.
So the committee is engaging
Oh,
a consultant that has been utilized by the city, so they know our electorate very well. So that could be something that we could reach out to the committee to ask them to ask their consultant. But thank you for raising that issue. It's good to know that there was some flexibility. Any other discussion? Because we're gonna get a more robust report from.
Yeah, I guess just let me add one more thing, and that is, sometimes it's been fairly close in terms of meeting the city minimum contribution. And I can tell you, after having served on council for over 8 years now, and being a lawyer and watching the legislation, that the legislation just keeps on imposing additional responsibilities on city staff. And so I think it's going to be a continuing challenge for the city to find enough money. So whatever additional can be raised is a good thing.
To find money for the library, because you've got all these other obligations.
Yes,
And they keep adding more.
and they keep piling on.
Unreimbursed requirement. Yeah,
Unreimbursed mandates.
mandate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've got food for thought there. And we get to decide how lucky we feel. Do we have recollection of what the passage rate was last time?
I want to say 80%.
I don't have it in
But
front
that,
of
I
me.
think that was down from 87 the time before though, right?
It was really, I think it was the highest it
I
has
can
ever been.
Grab it if you want me
Somebody said
to. Take
87.
me 2 minutes.
It might be
It's in our fact
87.
sheet.
It was extraordinarily high. It was much higher than we anticipated.
Yeah.
But we need 2/3. Remember that.
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's wiggle room, just we want to avoid I think fatigue with the electorate.
Do we do any polling to know how solid we are, and that might influence whether we want to recapture
There's been a lot of generalized polling. Every time the city does any polling, they ask what are the important things, and the library is usually in the top 4.
Yeah, you just did that. Well,
The city did the
survey.
strategic plan and the library came out high,
Right.
highly rated.
Yeah.
Did anyone oppose it did anybody oppose it last time or come out in strong, like trying to fight it?
No.
Yeah. So there might be room. The question is just, how complicated will it be to explain to people why,
And is it worth it?
when everything else around them is costing more, and that's all they're going to be hearing about is inflation, that we want to add more to the bill that we're asking them to renew.
And does anyone know if the school board is proposing anything?
Don't know.
I don't remember.
Because that
That
would be, we want to know
You
one
mean
way or
an
another.
additional special tax on top of Measure S?
I don't recall that they were evergreen, that's why I'm asking.
Measure S, it was the UUT that was just made evergreen. My guess would be, unless this
Right.
initiative happens and passes, that the next time Measure S comes up, that will be something they may ask for as well.
We don't know when they expire, huh? Because there's the parcel tax plus.
Measure S is, I believe we extended for 7 or 10 years the last time, and that was only a few years ago. So I think we've got a good 3 years before we need to look at that again. Could be wrong.
The committee could check. Make sure they're not thinking of anything. Like us as the committee.
Too bad there's
Yeah.
no one on the committee around here, so.
Yeah. Whoops.
um,
Listen to that.
Make a note of that.
I will.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to getting the update from you, Kathy, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Library operations update, item 6.
So I have a short list today just to go over a few things. As you know, we went back to 58 hours a week last Monday. Yeah, it's been a challenge staffing wise, but we're making it work. We've had some comments from older people in particular who said they appreciate the boarding hours. So that's good. And just so you know, staffing update, we had another aide who's given their resignation. They have a new job. So we're down to 4 out of 10 aides. And we had interviews this week, making offers to 5 people from that pool. As soon as that resignation, that 6th person, as soon as that resignation actually goes into effect, we'll probably interview another round from the same pool, like the people who scored a little bit lower, and hopefully get that 6th person out of the same recruitment. So knock on wood, hopefully we get those people, make it from from the offer to the actual coming to work for us. Memory Lab, which is the grant funded program that Olivia is working on. We're starting to purchase the equipment for that. And we have 7 intern candidates that they're going to be interviewing. So hopefully we'll get a good intern to help us with that this summer. I wanted to bring up the Parks Pass program. I don't know if you've seen this on social media. It made a big splash last week. The state library is partnering with the state parks to provide state park passes for all public libraries to circulate to their customers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can check this out, go to the state parks, put it in your, you don't have to buy your own pass.
Really,
That's the best thing.
amazing.
I know, isn't that fantastic? I
Wow.
don't.
Yeah, so we will eventually have 3. They only sent us 1 for now, but we'll have 3 passes. Hopefully the other 2 are coming later this month. And so tomorrow this will launch. We have it cataloged now and have the rules and the website ready to launch. So that's happening, which is exciting. It'll be interesting to see how it's used in our community. I know in a lot of communities, they've already reported, they have like 80 people waiting for the pass,
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but we'll be putting out publicity about that tomorrow. Eclectic Music Festival, a lot of you already went to the preview party, but that's the poster. Our lineup is all set. We have 4 bands on the library stage. Nate and I will be working that event. So looking forward to that.
Where will the library stage be?
It will be
In
in
the
front of the
community
community room and outdoor stage.
Great.
Yeah, and it's a good location because they're using the parking lot, the school district parking lot will have all of their kind of hands-on arts and crafts, as well as all of their artisans are gonna be in the school district lot. So people hopefully will kind of flow back and forth from the district lot straight across South Central, which will be blocked off.
The new school
The new
district.
school.
No, the old school
Oh,
district
oh.
lot. Yeah, the whole big middle of the old.
Oh,
Really?
excellent.
They're gonna have that very activated in there, so I think there'll be a lot of foot traffic.
And that's where all the liquor's gonna be, the beer and the wine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so
And
it's
the
fun.
food, some
Right.
food tricks, but most of the liquor, all of the liquor, the food, arts and crafts, they're gonna have vintage clothes, all kinds of stuff.
And having El Centro closed is locked between
Fabulous.
Diamond, it's gonna be really nice,
Yeah.
because people can just walk and
Yeah,
not have to.
And you'll have signage up and
Well, I mean, it'll be pretty self-evident, I think, with the band and the stage built out and there's, lighting, but we'll see about signage. Maybe we will. The chamber produces most of the material, including the
Right.
map and everything, so we don't have to do a lot of that, recreate a lot of that ourselves. Just so you know, the SPCC is having an Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month event in Garfield Park on May 21st. The library will be there in a booth. So that should be fun. I don't have the times, but watch our social media and whatnot for the times. It's kind of like probably 10 to 2 or something like that. But we'll put that on, that'll be out on the website shortly. We're also looking at potentially partnering with SPCC to screen a film in May. It's a documentary called Far East, Deep South. And I'll just read you, have you heard of that? It was on PBS apparently not too long ago. It's an award-winning documentary about a Chinese-American family search for their roots that leads them from California to Mississippi, where they stumble upon stunning family revelations and uncover the racially complex history of the Chinese in the segregated South during the Chinese exclusion era. So that should be very
Sounds
interesting.
good.
it's very
And the
interesting.
filmmakers would be there to do a
Wow.
Q&A with us. So that is in the works. I wanted to mention, I know some of you who've been around for a while know that we were doing an analysis of our HVAC system here in the library
Yeah.
to see how it is working and whether it's bringing in fresh air, which is what the Cal OSHA recommends. And we did get that analysis back and it's not performing as well as one would hope. So
Now, that's a new system or an old?
old
system?
systems, they're really pretty old from, like the newest is maybe like 2009 or 10. Mostly they're 2006, 2007, so they're old. So there's definitely work that needs to be done. So we have a meeting, Public Works and I have a meeting with the vendor that did the analysis next week. And so hopefully we'll get that work going as soon as possible so that we can, it's summer is coming.
Replacement or
I don't know, it
Oh.
doesn't recommend replacement. There's a lot of cleaning, things that aren't working correctly that need to be. There's a lot of, it's basic maintenance is what it looks like to me.
Is there any recovery money that can be used for that?
Potentially, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's eligible. I mean, ARPA funds now
Yeah.
are just about everything is eligible.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're tracking all of that.
yeah.
There's also a building improvement fund, which is
Yes.
supposed to be intended for.
That's where we took the money to do the
Yeah.
analysis from.
Okay.
We appropriated from there to
Good.
do the analysis. I think that Public Works is dealing with the where the money is coming from side of it. I don't have to worry about that. They're gonna worry about that. I actually had a nice meeting with them, I think last week, met with the director and the deputy director of Public Works. They came over to the site. We went through our list of things that we need their help with. That's never happened before since I've been here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so really, really helpful to have them at least have some understanding, like our leaks, for example, which you guys know about. Looking at those with them and looking at a lot of other things with them. So that was really, really great to have that meeting with them. And so hopefully we'll see.
That might help with our retention. To not have leaks in the stuff.
At least in the second. Yeah, so yeah, it'll be good to take care of some of the things that are on the list of things that need to be taken care of. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that next month, the idea of having a work plan for this entity, for this body, we had been doing work plans on a calendar year cycle, and we didn't do one in January because the mayor was looking, the city council was evaluating commissions in general. And my understanding is that we're now going to be doing our work plans and our reporting on a fiscal year schedule.
right.
So maybe in May, we can start thinking about a work plan for the Board of Trustees for the next fiscal year and we start that conversation so that we can be in June, adopt something.
It does. Armine wanted the work plan to align with the budget.
Which makes sense.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that on your radar, and that's all I have. Does anybody have questions about anything happening in the library, anything that you're?
No, it sounds, sounds like you're on top of everything as always.
I have one question though. Are we tracking our, the flow of customers now that we have our 58 hours?
Yeah, we always track.
So where are we getting more people, night,
haven't-
mornings?
Well, we don't track it at that level
Oh.
of detail, unfortunately. We'd have to do manual head counts to
Oh.
track, which we need to do periodically, but we haven't done. I haven't looked at how the numbers have changed because it's only the first week. People aren't really, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
People aren't necessarily aware yet that it's changed. So we'll see. I think it'll be more interesting to look at it in a few weeks and see
Yes,
how it compares to.
yeah, because I would be interested to see, where is it the nights that people are wanting? Is it the Sunday that people are coming in? I know the neighborhood is getting more traffic.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we'll look at that.
And now that the library is open more, we are getting more issue with more unhoused people because the library is opened more. So that has increased a little bit. But the police presence has been wonderful.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kathy, where are we? I know we were supposed to be revising the code of conduct.
It's on hold. It's just, we just haven't had time to put time toward it.
Okay.
Barb and Beta and I looked at a lot of other rules of behavior from other libraries and tried to kind of make some notes about what we thought ours should look like, and that's where we are.
And then I saw, as I was coming in, that every other terminal is out of service, presumably to provide the social distancing.
Okay.
Has that been a problem?
Not yet, but there have been we started to notice that we might be getting to a point where we need to open up the terminals, which we'll do as soon as that happens, but it hasn't been an issue so far. Yeah.
The follow-on to the question.
Yes, sorry, Annie.
Oh, I was gonna ask a totally separate question. I'll let Dean go first.
To follow on to Diana's comment about the work that you were doing about the code of conduct. I'm still not sure I got an answer the last time I asked about part of that code of conduct was going to be including addressing the code of conduct within the footprint of what we deem to be the library versus the library park.
Yeah.
Has there been a designation or work on determining the actual footprint that is library versus library park?
No, I think it's up to, I spoke to the city attorney about it, and there was a conversation about whether there was a precedent to say that the whole park would be under this umbrella, and I don't want the whole park under that umbrella. So I think that leaves it to us
Liability,
to
we
decide.
don't want.
Yeah, and I think that it's up to us to decide what areas, and in my mind, it's the areas immediately adjacent to the building where people are able to sit and use the Wi-Fi. So maybe the balconies, the patio area, the benches right in front of the library, and the community room kind of seating area in front of the community room. That's pretty much as far as I would like to police personally,
I just think
But we can talk
it'd be
about
important for us to have an official designation
Right,
with a map drawing that
Yeah.
shows an outline
I
of
agree.
this is library, this is not library.
Yeah,
Because that will then allow you and your staff to enforce by being able to just point and go, nope, see, you're on the library.
Right, definitely,
And then they can
and,
take a step back and.
yeah,
But don't city parks have a code of conduct? So like if the person was outside the line of the boundary of the library, then doesn't the parks have a code
I
of
mean,
conduct?
there's a municipal code for parks, but it's not a code of conduct. I mean, it dictates what's legal and what's not legal.
Oh,
Other than keeping your dog off.
so like smoking, drinking.
That's again, specifically addressed in an ordinance. As
For all-
opposed to a policy.
Oh.
The code of conduct is policy.
Oh, okay.
Right. I was gonna just mention some of the libraries, again, I think you're right, we need to be very explicit about what areas we're covering, and a lot of the libraries literally say like on the grass, the parking lot, the sidewalks in the parking lot and the grass, I mean, they just say exactly what they're talking, what part they're talking about. So, yeah.
I just think that'd be important to specify.
Yeah.
Annie, you had a separate question you want to talk over.
Oh, no, I agree. Having that policy would be really helpful for the staff. I was gonna switch gears a little bit into a different just update, Kathy. Did you apply for that grant, I think? And I didn't read in the last report that there was an update, but do you know, did you end up applying and when are we hearing back on that?
We applied and we have not heard back, and I don't know when we expect to. I don't know that they told us when we would hear back. I can ask Maida to check in with them and see if there's any updates, and I can share that with you via email.
Is that the QR?
It's the Tournament of Roses grant to do some diversity, equity, inclusion work with the collection. Yeah, we haven't heard back, so we don't know.
And the state one also on the library funds for the state. Did we hear back?
Oh, that's actually, so the library funds for the state, nothing has changed since the last update I gave you, but I'll just repeat it, which is that the first deadline for applications was March 21st, but because we didn't know what matching funds we might have available, we couldn't apply. We would have had to know that the city was going to designate X amount of money, and we haven't even had a conversation about the ARPA funds yet, and the CIP is still being developed along in the budget cycle. So we didn't apply March 21st. I was told that there would be a second round, that they would actually hold some of the funding back for a second round of applications a year from March. Although I just heard in the Public Library Directors Forum, which is an annual meeting that happens with public library directors, the state librarian said that they had 278 applications that totaled more than $500 million. And the total pool of funds that are available is $430 million. So I'm not sure how they will go about, obviously maybe not all of those proposals will be eligible. But if they already have people asking for 500 million, I'm not sure what's going to be left over a year from March, but we'll just have to wait and see. Again, my understanding is that they were specifically going to reserve funds for the second round because they knew people weren't able to get it together that quickly.
Not to make work for you, but is there any way to check if that's something that's in writing or if that's something that was an intention only?
Well, I have it in an email from the state, somebody at the state library. I mean, I don't know that they, I don't, I mean, we can ask, we can wait to see what happens, or I can ask, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
Kathy, the city is celebrating Earth Day on April 23rd. I know in prior years, the library has participated. Are you planning to do anything?
We are doing an Earth Day themed story time, just our regular story time, but it'll be Earth Day themed, and we're doing a craft outside in the afternoon, and the NREC will be there at a table to talk about things with us. I don't know what they're to be there, but it's a Thursday afternoon, and we obviously have our book lists and our displays and things like that, but we don't have any big program.
Maybe next year you can do something, because clearly emerging as a major issue that I think more residents really need to be aware of.
Maybe do a display of what we saw at the meeting last week with the first commercial solar
Yeah,
engine. I mean, I think that might be
That was
appropriate for that.
amazing. That was crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be an interesting talk to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at it. I mean, RP reached out to us, and said, what are you doing? And, they're doing their electric yard.
Right.
And the story time is listed on the list that came out on the city
Good.
blog today.
Good.
But yeah, we're not doing any big event.
And I know you're really busy, so.
We're pretty busy with the new hours.
Well, I noticed that we have a bookmark contest coming up.
The bookmark contest is completed.
Oh,
Yeah, the bookmark contest, the winners have been selected and then those will be handed out as part of summer reading program.
So could maybe for next year, we combine those two things and have it be an Earth Day themed bookmark competition?
We could certainly do an Earth Day themed competition. The bookmark competition is usually tied to the summer reading program theme.
Sure, but then we could, well, maybe we could do both. Maybe we could tie the summer reading program into something that is conservation, right?
Yeah, let me make a note to myself. Yeah, one year there was Earth Day, there was some kind of an Earth Day art contest, and I don't know who we partnered with on that, but I remember I'm the one who put the images up in the community room so that the families could come and see them. I don't remember how that works, but yeah, we'll think about what we can do next year.
Did anyone else have any additional follow-up? Otherwise, I would love to move us forward. I did promise you all that I'd keep us to shorter meeting. So now we're on communications, which starts with me, board president. I'll keep it very brief. I'm very excited to see you all in person. Be seeing many people in person. I'm excited. The board seems to be working well together. We've had a lot of very constructive questions and comments and input at this meeting. I hope that continues. As I said, if anyone is listening, watching these things, I welcome public comment. Thank you again, Kathy. That report was, as always, very complete, and you handle every question that we throw at you with a plum. I want to remark about how, I don't know if it was on the Zoom yet, the volunteer appreciation tea, I believe is what it's called. We have a program from it, was wonderful, highlighted the importance of the library to our community, and the breadth of volunteerism is outstanding. I believe the comment was made that we had 157 volunteers and there's only 150 people employed by the city. So
Yeah.
That's just truly outstanding. And I want to applaud you, Sean, Olivia, and your entire staff, because wrangling 157 volunteers who have more volunteerism in their soul maybe than understanding of how to implement that is very impressive.
Honestly,
And
it's
thank
the friends that wrangle the volunteers for the most part.
You do a lot of wrangling.
We wrangle the friends. The friends wrangle the volunteers.
So
So many
that, with that, I'm complete, and I will move us along to who goes first on our board. I'm going to hand it off to Bianca.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna echo, following up with Dean, that it was wonderful, and I've done, I think, 3 of these now. And I really think, like Kenny was saying, I think we've hit it's a tea, a morning time. And I just love the coasters. And I think I emailed you and Sean and Olivia. I showed these to a neighbor and they wanted to buy them. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be a great fundraiser. So I don't know, but you said you guys were going to give them away free, but why can't we sell them?
Well, I can't sell them. The friends can
Yeah.
create, the friends can print whatever they would like and sell them.
Okay.
Make them a premium,
I just,
give a $20
because
donation. you
my
get
my
those.
neighbor said, well, where can I buy these?
Yeah,
They didn't even say, where can I get them?
yeah.
They said, where can I buy these? So I just think it's a fabulous idea.
Yeah,
And
I'm all for the friends doing
Yeah.
note cards based on local, we have some
Yeah.
great images
I-
in local history.
And then that was my other thing. I really think Olivia should do it more often.
I was so impressed
I-
with your
I
presentation.
I think we should have, we have so much historical stuff and
Yeah.
Olivia is delightful.
Knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
Oh my
She
God.
was interesting and
Engaging,
engaged,
just
yeah,
engaging.
Yeah.
funny,
yeah, she's some great.
and approachable. So that would be my takeaway. I would say friends, we need to sell these. And Olivia needs to give more presentations.
Yeah, I think that as we move into the late summer and into the fall prior to the election, our objective will be to get out in front of some of our community groups. And so I expect we probably, she'll be out doing that presentation for other groups.
Very good.
My comments.
Yeah, I will mimic Dean and Bianca, the same thing. I mean, I thought of it when I came in here, and I thought of it many times since last Thursday. It was just a wonderful event. I know we've all said everything we can say about it, but I called my kids and I told them about, South Pass is the first, my daughter looked it up right away. And so, yeah, it was just a wonderful event, and I look forward to, hope we do more of these.
Chairman, make you wait for Annie to go next.
Good. She's
She's gone.
gone.
Did we lose her?
There she
There
is.
she is.
And, oh, sorry, yeah, no, nothing other than saying thank you, Kathy. Everyone's really excited the library's open at full hours again, I've talked to, so appreciate the staff and the work it takes to do that. So thank you, everyone.
Okay.
I just want to say, I think the online social media presence is rather impressive.
Thank you.
And I don't know who's doing it.
Cynthia does that.
But it's stuff on a daily basis. It's just, it's wonderful promoting our library and the services we offer. And I totally nerded out on Olivia because I love all old history, South Pass stuff. And like you were saying, Kenny, the solar panels,
Yeah.
that made my head explode.
Yeah.
And so I love that and more of that. But again, thank you for all that hard work.
Outstanding. Well, now we will hear from our council liaison, council member Diana.
Well, I'm so sorry I couldn't join you. I had a meeting conflict, and I think I've attended all the prior ones. So I was curious how it went, and now I
you have no
definitely
doubt,
want to
Yeah.
hear Olivia, and also it should be part of our marketing of the campaign for the parcel tax. We can combine the two, I think. Learn why you want to support a parcel tax. I don't have much to report other than a week from Monday, I will be meeting with the city manager and the finance director to go over the proposed city budget. So we'll see what I learn then. And city council is having a special meeting a week from Wednesday. So whatever that is, and I believe we're going to be hearing an expensive and very expensive and very sobering report on the state of the city's water infrastructure, which is estimated to cost in these several hundreds of millions to address in the next 30 years. We're an old city.
Is this the pipes? Because we're almost done with the reservoirs.
Well, we've got Gilligan Tank and we
Right.
still have West
West
Side
side, yeah.
Reservoir, but yeah, I think primarily it's, and we also, we do not have all of the pumps operating at
Oh.
Wilson. But yeah, we've got, I forget how many, I think it's over 100 miles of distribution. And a lot of the park is old, so I suspect that's what it is. And let's see, I believe as part of that discussion, we're also going to hear a preliminary report on the budget. at that same meeting. The last Wednesday in April.
27th, I think.
I don't know what the date is. It's whatever the last Wednesday.
And the
Yes.
water enterprise has to be sustained by the water fees,
Correct,
right? It doesn't come out of the general fund.
correct.
To replace all this.
There's no infrastructure money for that, or?
We got, I think, a total of 6 million. Oh, is there federal infrastructure
Yeah.
money? Yes, here's my concern. I'm a former public works lawyer.
Mm.
I'm very concerned that with all of the money that is in circulation, I'm on a capital projects committee of the San Gabriel Valley COG, and pretty much just with the existing funding, the feds haven't even begun to roll out the federal infrastructure bill. But there's a shortage of workers and there's increased competition, and it's the same supply chain issues that you've heard. So I anticipate that costs are going to continue to increase significantly. So it's you both look like you're about my generation. Our generation has not done a good job of investing. Really, since Reagan started, there's been a precipitous drop in investment in infrastructure, and that's why the American Society of Civil Engineers has continued.
I'm sorry.
To-
It's all on me. I think there's something-
But you're in good company.
You doubted me. I never thought we would come to this, certainly in this room, but.
Yeah, you're in good company, I'm saying. There's a lot of us, you know. We aren't anymore, but we used to be the biggest generation, not necessarily the smartest. But anyway, there's a lot of maintenance to do. So.
On that happy note.
I just wanted to add, those of us who were at the T, did you notice that a lot of the staff, and they stayed, city staff.
Yeah.
I was at the
City
door,
manager.
I was at the
Yeah.
door greeting people, and
Mhm.
almost every city staff person said, oh, I can only stay a few minutes. They stayed the
Oh,
entire
you mean
time.
like the city manager? Yeah. the
Oh,
city
yeah, I saw
manager,
her-
the
I
deputy
saw
city
her
manager.
But
table.
they stayed the whole, but
Yeah.
a few of them came to me and said, oh, I can only stay a
Yeah.
little while. They stayed the
did they?
entire
Yeah.
time, and they stayed afterwards too.
Wow.
Well, that's great.
So that says that we were doing something.
And you're right on time. I was impressed. It was due to start at 10:35 or 10:30. I think I says to me I can only stay for an hour. And so, well, it's only due to go an hour. It started 10:35. It was over 11:35. It was amazing.
Wow.
Everything about it was
That is very
Yeah.
good.
great, like Clockwork.
Well, I have to thank all of you who picked up pastries, and Bianca stayed and helped clean up, and Dean did presentations. So thank you all for your help on the day of and leading up to it.
Yeah, you guys were great at preparing that presentation for me, and then I got in and we discussed that Bianca would speak, because she didn't have a chance to the last couple of years. And then it suddenly flashed on me, oh, I probably should have written something down to say, I saw some
Oh, you were great.
some general remarks.
I thought it was perfect.
I
I thought it
know.
was, I thought it was
Yes.
great.
I'm good
And
at, good at winging it.
Social media.
Yes.
Did you read that cool haiku from Ron, my husband?
What
Wasn't
did
that
it
a cool
say?
one?
Mhm.
Yes, there was, what,
Would you read it?
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
When libraries close, a new ice age envelops the once warm city
That's wonderful.
for Earth Day. And
You wrote 2 little poems for us to share for Earth Day. We
Earth Day.
shared both of them, I think so.
yeah, Ron's my,
So he did the poet laureate?
Yeah, that he's
Oh,
my
okay, it's all coming
husband.
together.
That's, yeah.
Here comes a match set.
Okay, it's a twofer.
Well, with that, let's move on to our Friends of the Library representative, the young and talented Sarah Toby.
Just quickly, I have a report from Ellen Torres, who couldn't be here tonight. She's reporting that our last meeting, we had our fund manager from our investment firm come and talk to us about our investment goals. And at some point, we may decide to revisit that so we can gain more of the stock market increases. But right now, we're pretty, risk averse. The Friends purchased this and which we're sharing, happy to share. We're still involved in the Jericho Road application process to get consultants to help us on our structure, business plan, website. We usually meet at 1 o'clock during the day. We're looking at changing that. And right now it looks like we might alternate between day and evening because of increased requests, people working during the day. You all were mostly there for the volunteer recognition. And we had 3 people from the bookstore and Ellen Torres who were volunteers of the year. I like the way you did it, 2019, 20, and 21.
We have a lot of catch up to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Friends donated treats, flowers, and gift cards to the library staff for Library Staff Appreciation Week last week. And Helen wants to thank you and your staff for all you did to put the event together for us. Measure L coming up. The 2015 campaign that Brendan was the chair of, they had about $2,000 surplus, and the Friends have been keeping that, and that was just forwarded to our existing committee. So we have $2,000 more dollars.
Did anyone ever file an FPPC report?
We have, you know, we're with a recognized
did that.
committee with an FPPC number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, because I think you're supposed to file an annual report.
Oh, you mean on those funds from 2015?
Exactly. It's something to look into.
Yeah, okay, I'll certainly look into that.
Because I know I terminated my campaign committee because my treasurer told me if you don't terminate it, you're gonna have to file
filing,
annual
yeah.
reports.
Well, I'm sure they terminated theirs when they donated it to the Friends.
Okay,
They're not continuing to file since 2015.
But
Yeah.
I believe what happened was they donated the funds to
To the
Friends, and
okay,
the Friends segregated them to donate
Yes,
to a future
that,
campaign.
okay.
it's always been on
I
their
sure
account.
hope so.
Maybe we could double check that.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And
We have-
also just a reminder for this campaign.
Yes,
I don't think there's gonna be anything left over.
exactly. Membership drive, we've done well. We have $16,000 and 166 active members. And I hope most people are receiving the monthly newsletter. We're trying to put it out every month. Bookstore is now open 5 days a week. Sales were about 2,500 for February, and year to date, over almost $6,000.
Can I ask one question about that? I saw in the minutes
Yeah,
that in January you made $1,000 on 50-cent books.
Yeah.
That's a lot of books. Did somebody come in and buy
Ellen,
it? That's
yeah,
amazing.
it is.
The amount of material that they move through the inventory that they move
2,000 books
is
just for
amazing.
that.
The
Yeah.
volunteers move an incredible
Yeah.
amount of inventory.
And we're looking at better signage so people can tell that those shelves are for sale and not just for the library.
I admit I don't come into the library very often, but the last time I came in, I don't remember seeing, there always used to be like an ongoing auction of rare books.
I love
Every
that.
month.
You walk into the right.
Yeah.
Is that,
Is that
Every
gonna-
month.
Is
And
that still
on
going on?
the newsletter this
Oh,
last
yeah.
month, I had pictures of 2 of the items
Right.
and little descriptions of those 2.
yeah.
Where are those located? right now?
We're at the front door
Are
right
they
here.
still there?
Uh-huh,
Okay, I
on the
didn't see
right.
them last time.
It's under
Yeah,
the stained glass window. right
you
in front
don't
of the-
see them unless you take a sharp right.
It used to be right when you walked in. But yeah.
Well, you moved and I love the open floor plan, moving the circulation desk over. But I think that having the circulation desk there created like a more of a tunnel
Yeah.
that caused you to look to the other side and see those.
Mm. You can try
We'll
to
take
look
a look.
at that.
Yeah, well,
We'll talk about it.
okay.
Oh, I prefer it where you have it. I think it makes it a much more open and inviting feel.
And one last item, the Restoration Concert Series. They have a couple more concerts left and everything went well, fairly well, I think, last time. They were having some problem with piano, but they are having a May 8th and a May 22nd concert and another one in January to make up for the ones they had to cancel. Submitted by Ellen Torres. So thank you very much. Any questions? I'll be glad to.
Keep going.
Are the restoration concerts selling out?
They are pretty full, yeah. People can buy the ticket at the door.
And I think
Pretty
the
cool.
tickets for the new season are available.
Yes.
Are they on the website yet, or is it just, they're just
I-
selling them at the event?
At the event, as far as I know. I don't know if they're on there yet.
I forget who our trustee liaison is. Is it Bianca?
Yeah. And I have nothing to report. Nothing to report.
Sally just stole your thunder.
Well, I haven't gone to a meeting yet.
Yeah, I don't think you, were on the mailing list
Right,
yet, but you will be.
Okay.
For
In the
for
future.
21, April
Right.
21st,
April 21st, okay.
still 1 o'clock.
Yeah, okay.
Then I will turn it to our library director, but with the caveat that I would like to ask a question about the next meeting before we adjourn.
Sure, I have nothing to add, so, well, I wanted to circulate, this is a little thank you note from Kay Rosser about the luncheon that was addressed to me and staff and the board, so I just wanted to circulate that.
I have a conflict for the next meeting, and I would like to designate my vice president to serve for me, if that's amenable to everyone.
Who's your vice president?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's fine. Yeah, I accept it. Yeah.
I would work around it, but it's unfortunately something I can't move. I spent 6 months putting together an event that I'm hosting, so I kind of have to.
Can't really show up.
Hey, where's Dean? Oh, he's at the
Wrangling 100 drunk lawyers, that's what.
Oh, there-
And everyone saw the articles on
Yes.
Kathy, woman of distinction.
Hey, hold on, where's this? Who's-
That
I believe we
was-
talked about that last month.
It's been
but-
talked about a lot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
You know, but wait, is Holden gonna have a,
No, they're not doing an event.
yeah.
Oh, they're not?
No, they're not gonna do an event, but they're reaching out to each individual municipality to see what they might be able to do or want to do. So they're gonna talk to the city manager's office about it.
Can we do some streamers for you?
I mean, it's great publicity for the library. So yeah, we'll see what they.
Well, and I think it's great timing for our Measure L,
Right.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
yeah. And then Pasadena Weekly, they contacted you, and they were gonna interview her.
Wow, cool.
Wow, this is good.
Thank
And
you,
this is hanging
Sally.
right in front of the
But, and I
building.
think, you mentioned
Like
that
it's like it doesn't look like
Kathy
it's
is
a
the
banner.
very first staff person to be recognized.
At least that I know of. Well, I've been, certainly she's the first in the 9 years I have served on
Wow.
council, but I don't.
No,
It's all
it's-
thanks to
it's-
Bianca who nominated me. Very thoughtful and sweet.
It's very commendable, and we're honored. I don't think we say it enough. We're just blessed to have you as our librarian. and
Yes.
As our library director.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. I appreciate that.
We work very hard.
And he's
library
nodding her head
runs
too.
to-
Thumbs up.
Yes. So with that, I believe we're adjourned.
Adjourned.
So
Look at that.
I kept you.
Wow.
Well, I said at least an hour, no more than an hour and a half.
Very good, Dean.
Wow.
Very good.
Crack that whip.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all.
Okay, good.
Hi, Annie.
Yeah, we ate dinner and I ran across the street. I said, Ron, just leave the dishes. I'll do them when I get back.
Do I need to sign anything or?
Sean will send you the minutes
Good night.
as a
Good night.
DocuSign.
I just didn't know if you